This is the KF51 Panther, and it's not just another tank, it's a game changer. It's not every day that a new main battle tank makes the world sit up and take notice. But something about the KF51 Panther is different, something that could change the future of armored warfare forever. It may seem very similar. After all, it's got the heavy armor, the big gun, and the intimidating presence you'd expect. But what is it that makes this tank extraordinary and is causing shockwaves across the defense community? The secret to the Panther's battlefield dominance begins with its cutting-edge firepower. If you look closely at its main gun, you might notice something different compared to previous Western main battle tanks. And no, it's not just the paint job. Did you catch it? If not, don't worry, it's easier to notice from the inside of the tank than from the outside. That's because the Panther comes standard with a brand new gun that forms the core of its capabilities, known as the Future Gun System, or FGS. This revolutionary new weapon is turning armored warfare on its head. There are a few reasons why the FGS is so groundbreaking. First of all, its huge caliber is something of a novelty on European battlefields. Sporting a 130mm main gun, the FGS has about 50% greater muzzle velocity than traditional 120mm smoothbore systems. Muzzle velocity is how fast a bullet is moving when it first leaves the end of a gun. With this increased muzzle velocity, the FGS has an expected max range of about 3,500 m, and while that might not sound like a lot, it's about 1,000 m longer than the standard 120mm gun range. With those extra 1,000 m, that means that the FGS can engage targets before they have a chance to even fire back, kind of like being able to hold a short person back with one arm and hitting them with the other. When the FGS does engage targets, it also has a wide range of ammunition to choose from to tailor its shots to the target, while the FGS can fire standard armor-piercing and high-explosive rounds. A novel feature not seen before is the addition of programmable fused munitions. The crew can set the fuses to explode at different times, allowing the tank to engage low-flying aerial targets, as well as troops behind cover, like below the crest of a hill, targets that traditional tank guns would struggle to hit. However, despite this, there is a slight disadvantage compared to other modern tanks. As of now, the tank can hold a total of 20, split between two storage areas called barbets, each holding 10 rounds, and there's room for 10 more rounds on a rack inside this tank. While this is a lower amount of ammunition, this drawback is negated by another impressive technology new to Western European tanks. If you look at the outside of the Panther tank compared to, say, an M1 Abrams or Leopard 2, you will see that the KF51 has a much lower profile than comparable Western tanks. The reason for this is because the Panther has an auto-loader, while Russian tanks have adopted auto-loaders for decades. This technology has been absent from most Western European tanks, with a few exceptions, such as the French Leclerc. Now Germany wants to finally transition mainland Europe into using this technology, since the KF51 Panther will come standard with one. But what are its advantages? Before diving into that, it is best to explain what an auto-loader is. In its simplest form, an auto-loader automatically feeds ammunition into the main gun from a revolving magazine around the turret. This gives the tank two distinct advantages. First, it eliminates the loader position in the tank crew. Second, and more importantly, it lowers the overall silhouette of the tank, since a person doesn't have to be standing in the back thrusting rounds into the gun. With an auto-loader, the KF51 Panther will not only have a lower profile than the other main battle tanks, which makes it harder to see and hit, but it will also utilize this now open crew position in a genius way. This innovation also allows for a faster rate of fire, with the ability to fire 2 rounds every 3 seconds, while there will still be a driver, a gunner, and a commander. The tank has 4 seats. This 4-seat located at the left front of the tank can accommodate a company commander or an operator for one of the several new weapon systems on board. Besides the 130mm FGS, the Panther will also have a standard 50 caliber coaxial machine gun with a 250 round belt. But in the rear of the tank there are 2 new weapons that will help revolutionize how the tank will fight. If you look at the Panther from the top down, you will see an odd-shaped box, and while one might think this box is concealing some super-secret squirrel technology, you would be partially right. While not necessarily a secret, the Panther sports a brand new remote-controlled weapon station called the N. The N is a 7.62mm machine gun with an all-around view of the tank, while the N could conceivably be used to help defend the tank against infantry attacks. Its primary purpose is firing 7.62mm bullets against threats from above with an elevation From -15 degrees up to 85 degrees straight up. The end's primary purpose is to shoot down remote-controlled first-person view drones that have been the bane of every tank's existence in Ukraine. With no longer needing a loader, this fourth crew member could control this weapon in a high drone threat environment. Another new weapon is the Israeli Hero 120 loitering munition. Armed with 4 of these bombs, the Panther can launch them, and they can stay airborne for up to 60 minutes before zeroing in on their target. With an 18 kilograms warhead with a range of up to 60 kilometers, the Panther has the ability to strike targets further away than any other tank before it. But the N is not the only novel way the tank protects itself, thanks to several other creative innovations designed to maximize crew survivability. While the Panther comes standard with top-secret composite armor, like other Western main B tanks such as the ABS, it differs from previous tanks in several ways. The main way that the tank differs is that it has a brand new system called a Top Attack Protection System, TAPS, pronounced TAPS, with the advent of a whole slew of anti-tank weapons designed to penetrate tanks' vulnerable top armor. Having a system that specifically targets these munitions is crucial for survival on a modern battlefield. But how does it work though? Rheinmetall has released scant details. We can infer a few things. Firstly, the TAPS has a 360 view of the environment to identify threats long before they become a problem. Once it identifies a threat, the system will engage it with a rocket to destroy the projectile in flight. But if that system fails, there are several other ways the crew is protected too. While you may have missed these 2 small launchers located on either side of the turret with all the other antenna and sensors bristling off the back, these 2 devices can hold up to 8 smoke projectiles that form a core capability in protecting the crew from anything the enemy throws at them, known as the Rapid Obscuring System, or ROSI. This passive countermeasure is unlike any smoke screen any tank has fielded before. While traditional tanks will almost always have smokescreen launchers to help obscure the tank for a quick exit, ROSI is different in that it actually helps defeat incoming threats. Made with specially designed smoke, ROSI can block electro-optical, infrared, and several other homing mechanisms that most anti-tank weapons use to guide them to their targets. But if a threat is so advanced as to get through both TAPS and ROSI, the Panther still has a few aces up its sleeve. Ringing the entire tank are specially designed explosive reactor armor panels. If an incoming threat hits one of these panels, it will create a massive explosion outwards that will cancel out the incoming weapon kinetic energy. Put another way, it's kind of like hitting someone's fist with your own fist. However, the Panther is not just an asset on the battlefield. Because of its incredible firepower and survivability, its combat system suite can turn every Panther into its own battle management system. With the increasing digitization of warfare, it's no surprise that tanks are also going online. But with the Panther, German engineers have taken it to a whole other level. One of the main reasons for this is NATO Generic Vehicle Architecture, or NVA. Conceived in 2023, the NVA program is a forward-thinking collaborative effort to ensure that all tanks and armored vehicles can be upgraded in the future. But why is this important? Because of all the political wrangling, budget concerns, and manufacturing snafus inherent with high-priced weapon systems. It can take a long time for a system to reach operational capability. While this is happening, adversaries like Russia or China could develop a new sensor weapon or tactic that could make a weapon like a tank obsolete before it ever rolls off the factory floor. To prevent this from happening, Rheinmetall is developing this vehicle as one of the first NATO vehicles and the only main battle tank so far to incorporate common coding languages across all of its combat system suite. That way, if a NATO partner develops a new fire control, computer sighting system, countermeasure, or anything else, the Panther can easily accept that new technology instead of having to reconfigure everything. And while that is all fine and dandy, how does a battlefield commander actually use the Panther's advanced IT systems in the field? One of the main ways commanders can do this is by using unmanned drones. Remember that 4th crew member we discussed earlier who would control the N? Another job they can do is fly one of 2 reconnaissance drones on the Panther. While these drones are a step above first-person view drones, the fact that the Panther can conduct reconnaissance in the open while being protected miles away from it is a game-changer on a modern battlefield. With its advanced computer and data link systems, the Panther can also essentially act as a scout vehicle and armored support for infantry formations. With this dual purpose, the tank can help broadcast information in real time that can influence commanders' decisions on the battlefield. With all this advanced equipment and armaments, you might think that this tank would just be a sitting duck with a big size on it that says shoot me. However, you would be sorely mistaken, since the Panther is incredibly agile for its size. Weighing 59 tons, the Panther is actually smaller than its contemporaries like the M1 Abrams, which weighs 70 tons or more depending on installed armor packages. However, this lower weight allows the tank to not only cross weaker bridges in less developed areas, but also maintain a solid power-to-weight ratio. This is how much power the engine puts out compared to how much the vehicle weighs. Normally, tanks want to be above 20 to have a fighting chance on the battlefield, and not just be an artillery target. With its MB-873K5, a 1V12 water-cooled diesel engine, putting out an impressive 1,500 horsepower, the tank has an impressive power-to-weight ratio of 25. This means that the tank is still highly maneuverable despite all the gear it's lugging around. But that is not the only thing it can do. Thanks to excellent German engineering, the tank can climb a hill with up to a 60 degrees gradient, cross a trench 7.5 feet long, ford 4 feet of water unassisted, and have a top road speed of 70 kilometers per hour. In addition, the Panther has a combat range of over 500 kilometers on a single tank of gas. Because of all these features and more, the Panther is a truly revolutionary tank that can easily defeat similar systems Russia uses, such as the T-72, T-80, and even the fabled T-14 Armata. But what does the future look like for this tank that is yet to leave the factory floor? According to recent media reports, the Panther may enter service within the next few years due to a couple of factors. Firstly, Rheinmetall entered into an agreement with Ukraine to build a €200 million factory in the country. While the factory will initially focus on Lynx armored vehicles, the production line will eventually shift to Panther tanks after several years of operation. The goal here is to pump out an impressive 400 Panthers per year to help Ukraine take back its territory. Another country that has expressed interest is Hungary. This past fall, the Hungarian government inked a nearly €300 million deal with Rheinmetall to help finish building a working vehicle prototype. While the Hungarian models will have a 120mm gun, so its fleet of Leopards and Panthers can share the same ammunition. This is still a crucial first step in getting the idea off the drawing board and into the battlefield. Now, with a firmer partner to help finish building the tank, Germany hopes that by 2035 there will be at least 500 to 800 Panthers in service across Europe, but their ambition is far greater than that. Eventually, the company wants every Leopard to be replaced with a Panther tank, which is no easy feat considering that more than several thousand are still in service. However, as long as the purported capabilities of the tank hold up in the field, there shouldn't be any shortage of customers willing to shell out money for one of the greatest tanks of this century. Bye for now.